Or is she content with her lifetime appointment to the federal district court? And is her honor and integrity as a jurist more important to her than trying to work her way onto the short list of Republican Supreme Court nominees at some future point in her career? We will know Judge Cannon's answer to those questions about her future when she issues her opinion in due course. Leading off our discussion tonight, Andrew Weissman, former FBI General Counsel and former Chief of the Criminal Division in the Eastern District of New York. He's a professor of practice at NYU Law School now. Neal Katyl, former acting U.S. Solicitor General. They're both MSNBC legal analysts. Also with us is Bradley Moss, a national security attorney. And Andrew Weissman, what was your reading of what we know transpired in the courtroom today?
I start with having listened to the president's speech tonight where he talked about democracy and the Constitution and the right to vote. And I think for me and Neal and Brad as lawyers, that comes down very much to upholding the rule of law, which means that everyone is supposed to be treated equally. And Donald Trump is not supposed to be treated worse or better. The lower courts have done, by and large, a remarkable job in not falling for the big lie and political spin. If you think about all of the cases that Donald Trump and his minions brought to challenge the election, he lost substantively all of them because the courts, whether people were appointed by a Republican or a Democrat, followed the rule of law and the Constitution. And if you look at this judge, it's really useful for her to take a page from another Trump-appointed judge who ruled today. That's Dabney Friedrich, who's a district judge in D.C., appointed by Donald Trump, who dismissed a case that was brought by Carter Page against the FBI and James Comey and many other people because it did not meet the legal standards, because she had the courage and the commitment to the rule of law. What is going on now is for the district judge in Florida to actually, when she is alone in her chambers, to not be thinking about her future, not be thinking about anything else than that Donald Trump is not entitled to relief that no other defendant would get. And that really is what's at stake here. It's not a question of her saying, what's the harm? No other defendant would ever be able to make this motion and have it granted.
Neal Katyl, Donald Trump shopped for this judge, hoping to get this judge by filing this not in the court where the search warrant originated, but in this branch court of the Southern District, where there was a chance of getting this Trump-appointed judge in the lottery system that they use, the random system they use for selecting judges. And Donald Trump got lucky. He got one of his judges in this. You would think that an honorable judge in that situation, having been appointed in the last months of the Trump presidency, might first of all consider recusal. Even if she firmly believes she's not compromised in any way, she might want to consider the unique circumstances of this case and the way it appears to all 50 states and all voters in all 50 states. She ruled that out right away, and instead, right off the bat, said, I'm inclined to do what Donald Trump wants to do.
Yeah, Lawrence, that certainly concerns me. I'm not sure that she should have thought about recusal because people do shop for judges all the time, and it might be a nice short-term gratification that might get some relief, but most important cases go to the Court of Appeals and indeed possibly to the United States Supreme Court, where this forum shopping will be, something in the judge's mind. So I don't think this is going to go anywhere long-term, but I am concerned, Lawrence, just off the bat, We knew this judge wasn't going to have a televised hearing, unlike many other federal court cases. I've argued, like the Muslim ban case, televised on live TV in federal court and the like. We knew she wasn't going to do that. She did something really striking right before the hearing, which is ban all Wi-Fi. So we couldn't actually hear in real time what was happening. And indeed, we don't have right now all everything that was said in that hearing. And some of the stuff that was said was, it's not just what she says, it's also what the Trump lawyers say. Some of it you've got, like the library book thing, which is just outrageous. The idea that bringing home all these highly classified human source information, electronic intercept information is like an overdue library book. That's ridiculous. But also Trump's lawyer evidently in court insisted that there were no criminal statutes in the Presidential Records Act, so he had done nothing wrong, which is as bogus as it gets because Trump is not being investigated for violating the Presidential Records Act. He's being investigated for violating 5 other statutes, just not that one. And a federal magistrate judge has already said it's more likely than not that he's criminally violated 3 of them. So I think that's a real problem just kind of substantively because we don't know everything that was said in real time. The second problem is, what we do know she said, this idea that she's entertaining a special master. Andrew said it better than I ever could. If it were you or me or any one of the other 300 million Americans, there's no chance in the world you're going to get a special master. And I guess her response is to say, well, but this is about executive privilege. That makes it different. But no president has ever exerted executive privilege against the executive branch, which is the one investigating her. It doesn't make any sense, particularly for conservatives who believe in the so-called unitary executive theory. And it certainly doesn't make any sense when the government's already gone through all the documents. So bottom line, Donald Trump lost a lot, Lawrence, in the 2020 election. He lost his security clearance. He lost his last shred of dignity, but he also lost his claim to executive privilege. And so this is a delay tactic. It won't stop the government. It might even, frankly, aggravate the government and make them move faster, but I don't think it's going anywhere.
Bradley Moss, you specialize in national security matters as an attorney, and any attorney who has a specialty has the experience of seeing a case come before a judge who's never really had to deal with that specialty before. This may be one of those. Given what we know, and who knows what we don't know about exactly what was said in that courtroom today, what stands out for you at this point?
Yeah, what stands out for me is the idea that the judge at the moment believes there is a role for the special master to truly play with respect to anything other than attorney-client privileged information. Put aside the potential issues of whether or not she should have recused, put aside the procedural and the substantive deficiencies in the Trump team's arguments. There's never been a special master for executive privilege issues. There's never been one for classified information. I litigate on matters implicating classified information all the time. I was in court a couple weeks ago on a preliminary injunction hearing for stuff along the lines of classified information, trying to get a secure computer for a client. The government eviscerated us before the judge, saying, you can't get that kind of stuff. We make that decision, no one else. And of course, the judge went along with it. So what I think we have here is, at least for the moment, a judge who is contemplating the idea of providing this relief. She's going to have to write this stuff down, particularly if she's going to provide injunctive relief here. If she's going to impose an injunction against the government, she's going to have to outline that in the various analysis, the 4 prongs that she's going to have to outline, which will be a great basis for appeal if it's not based in proper factual analysis. That's going to be the reason why I think in the end, she won't actually give Donald Trump what he thinks he's getting here. She might try to broker some compromise in terms of a limited role for a special master. It's not going to be on executive privilege, and I'll eat crow if I'm wrong.
Bradley Moss, Neal Katyl, Andrew Weissman, thank you all very much for starting us off tonight. Really appreciate it.
Have a good night.
Thank you.